So Spain slipped out of contention for that overall third Olympic slot for the highest ranking team here at the ISA World Surfing Games, the highest ranking team, male, female. So I love to see these scenarios start to unfold. Adds another layer of excitement and anticipation. You know, yesterday just felt like the ultimate surf celebration. So many golden tickets handed out by our fearless leader, ISA President Fernando Aguirre. I think he was having more fun than anyone. That's the dream job. Shannon Hughes called him the Willy Wonka of surfing, and I agree with that. He had a pocket full of gold, and he was just handing them out. Kind of like Oprah. You go to the Olympics. You go to the Olympics. You go to the Olympics.
Exactly right.
So he's surfing's Oprah Wonka. It's collab. Cote and Hughes collab right there. 15 seconds left here in round 6. Heat 1, Joanne Defay took control with that 7-3-3. She's going to hang on to it. Nadia Aristarbe, Team Spain, just edges her way into second place. A super close heat there. Sally Fitzgibbons in third, Sol Aguirre in fourth. But Sally and Sol both will get one more shot at surfing their way back into the main event. These next few repechage heats are going to be intense. And they're going to come quick. We already saw Alonso Correa basically make a U-turn. He only had 25 minutes rest between his previous heat to the one he's already out in the water preparing for.
Yeah. Basically go get some water, maybe eat a banana.
If you're Jean Duru, you slap the water, punch yourself in the face. We saw him do that as a celebratory
Yes.
claim in his last heat. Hey, whatever
That buzzer
works.
beater, yeah.
I'm not judging anybody for their pre-heat prep, their post-heat wind down.
Passion.
Whatever it takes. So Team France right now looking solid. As Jean Defay puts up some big numbers there. Nadia Aristarbe in second. Sally Fitzgibbons, Sol Aguirre relegated to the repechage round. And we're well into it here on finals day at the ISA World Surfing Games. I know you're not going anywhere. See you in a minute.
Desde la primera vez que te probé, ese sabor nunca lo olvidé. Quiero mi pancho, te amo pancho. Desde la primera vez que te probé, ese sabor nunca lo olvidé. Quiero mi pancho.
Campo Pancho, solo $4.99.
Te amo pancho.
It all comes down to this, the last repechage round for the men. Jean Duru showing us he wants it. Power surfing, straight from the jump, 23:50 on the clock. Two of these surfers will fight their way back to the main event final. Two of these surfers just on the edge of greatness. Chris Cote here with Rachel Tilley, rejoined by Boricua Otto Flores. Otto, we knew it this morning. It was a nice, calm, casual start. You know, not a lot of people here on the boardwalk. Blink your eye, and boom, it's raging. Surfing has definitely risen to a new level here on finals day. Alonso Correa, Joan Duru, Ramsey Bukim, Andy Crier. Let's just throw it out there, Otto. Who's going to take this heat?
Well, I have to say that Joan Duru looked like he was opening up his campaign pretty seriously there. You know he wants to end his career with a bang. another ISA gold medal would be a beautiful one to start that trajectory. I do have to say that Andrew Carrier has done a great job in keeping consistency, but look at this wave. Nice little turn off the top right there, throws a lot of water, vertical hit right there, and I think he finishes with a bang right here, vertical attack, and he is very happy with that, and it feels good when you open up with a good wave.
I love to watch Joan Duru surf. I mean, the subtleties in what he does, his back knee especially, you saw that almost touching the deck of his board and just giving some springs to push tons of water with every turn he does. As we see Ramsey Bukiem now. This is going to be fun. So these are 4 power surfers in the lineup right now. Rachel, we got Goofy Foots out there. They're going to be leaning hard on their rails. So I think this is kind of going to be a purist's dream heat. I'm sure we're going to see an air or two, but this really is going to be decided, I would think, on the rail.
Yeah, well, earlier this morning we saw Ramsey get that 8.33 from that pure power surfing, and he has had excellent wave selection too. He's been able to read the lineup in this, what looks like, you know, from this drone, it doesn't look as peaky and all over the place as it actually is. I think when you're looking at it from that beach view, this is a little bit more stated to what the conditions are out there, and the surfers have to have excellent wave selection in order to find those sections, to earn those scores, to have those clean sections for power surfing. Alonso wasn't sure if he wanted to go right or left there.
I was just going to say, you've got to make the quickest decisions you possibly can on these waves. Those sections are going to present themselves, and then they're going to be gone. So if you don't attack, get into it early, you know, you're going to waste an opportunity.
As we see Ramsey trying him on a backside, we know his backside surfing is incredible. And I got to agree with you, Chris. This place is a crapshoot. You got to stand up and blow up.
Absolutely. 20:50 on the clock for now here in Repechage round 12. Let's throw it down to Mitchell Salazar.
Yeah, here with Joan Defay moving into the final. Joan, felicitación. It was the quick start that got you into the lead early, but most importantly, conditions changed a lot. It seems like your equipment changed too.
Yeah, you're right. It's a bit bigger and more powerful for sure. So I just took like a normal PU board, and it's just a normal board, but just a little bit more like stability for those waves.
It's no secret that there's a lot on the line for you guys as a team overall. You want to get the gold medal and be world champions as a team, but most importantly, still 2 slots available. And the host nation, obviously, a lot of pride for yourself. What can you do in the final to make that happen?
To be honest, I'll try just to continue my thing. I've been quite in a good rhythm with the waves and conditions, so I just hope to keep going on that way. And yeah, just thinking at all the results like as a consequences and not, you know, like the main goal.
Félicitations. Anything you want to say before the final?
Merci à tout le monde de regarder. Allez, encore une série, et puis j'espère que les boys vont bien fracasser aussi.
Merci, Joan.
Great surfing there for Joan Defay, and Team France has to be feeling good right now because Joan Duru slicing, dicing, ripping his way down the line here. An impactful wave, surfed extremely well. He's going. Energizer bunny vibes right there from Joan Duru, all the way from the outside to the inside, straight onto the dry reef. He's not scared to lay that rail in the water, Otto.
Yeah, I think he's a little bit like, you know, heard about that last heat, and he just came here and said, I'm going to release all that anger. I'm going to be consistent. I'm going to open up really fast. And I do have to say he's surfing a really smart heat. I think he has 2 really good waves under his belt, and he's going to work up towards better waves after that. Surfing it really smart, really consistent, opening up with a 6.50. And I have to say he's looking pretty solid at the moment.
I think here in the land of Boricua, rhythm is a huge part of Puerto Rico, and rhythm plays a role in these heats as well. I mean, Joan Duru, pretty obvious, it was out of rhythm in the previous heat he surfed. Right now, he just seems to be getting in that cycle. You know, surfers experience that, and when it happens, I mean, it's a magical feeling. I think he's experiencing that right now. Here's we see the probably debrief and pre-brief for Sally Fitzgibbons, who was just out in the water about 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, 25 minutes to reset and say, okay, what could I have done differently in that heat? and what do I need to make sure I do now in this upcoming heat? It's super important and critical for her in order to reset, not look at that earlier heat as a loss, but look at it as a, okay, I had the opportunity to already feel the waves out there, and now I'm going to go out there and find my win.
Well, her history here in ISA competition is going to help her out a lot because generally speaking, on the championship tour, in other big events on the Challenger Series, you would have sometimes 2 days to figure out what to do better and, you know, achieve something great in your next heat. But for Sally Fitz and the rest of the field here, they get 25 minutes. That's not a lot of time to regroup, reset, and come up with a new game plan.
Yeah, it's flapjacking. It's just flipping pancakes right here. And I do have to say that it could work in your favor. If you're fresh, if you're warm, if you can tap right into it like we see Jean Duroux, just really getting right back into the rhythm, knowing his mistakes, regrouping, but also restarting his whole strategy. And you know, hopefully Sally Fitzgibbon can be on point and do that. She's got a great history, multiple medals in the ISA format, and I do have to say, by the evidence of this heat, Jean Duroux just snapped right back, right into that rhythm, right into that tempo, and yeah, he's looking at 2 6s on his board.
Yeah, it's a great start. He's still got 16 minutes and 40 seconds left. He's in third priority, but I feel like every surfer, at least in the past few heats, has really been out there on their own. You know, we haven't seen many paddle battles. I don't think we've seen even a contested wave in the past 3 or 4 heats. So to me, today, I know Medina did slightly use his priority in his first heat of the day in the last 2 minutes, but other than that, I think everybody will be happy to hear that it's just been based on good, clean surfing, wave for wave, turn for turn. You know, the surfing has been the key to success here, not the tactics, and that's always good to see. So with 15:58 to go, your surfer in green, Ramzi Boukiem, right now just sitting on a 2 and a 1-4. We know that's all about to change if given the opportunity. Let's learn a little bit more about this surfer representing Team Morocco.
Well, when I came home and I saw, you know, there was a picture of me on the wall in the village where I grew up, where I started surfing, where everything started for me, it was huge, you know, it was big. It really touched me deeply. I felt like, you know, I was like, oh, they're really proud of me. I went straight and I took a picture of it, of myself with the wall behind me. I gotta make them proud, you know, they're proud of me. They push me all year long. Every time I have support from Morocco, from my family, from all my fans. So, you know, it's my job to do everything to make them proud.
Great little piece there about Ramzi Boukiem as we get now into the heat in the water. Alonso Correa had a 1.57 and a 1.07. One of those scores is going to be completely deleted. Great looking floater there. An impactful maneuver. Doesn't often get, I don't think, the credit you know, that it warrants, because it is pretty difficult. But Alonso Correa will be happy to have now officially kickstarted his campaign to try to get back onto the main podium. In that piece about Ramzi Boukiem, I mean, you can see that his country of Morocco is so proud of his accomplishments already. Ramzi's the type of guy that on the beach, he's funny, he's kind, he's a sweetheart. You don't want to draw him in a heat, however, because he becomes an intimidating force in the water. He's 6 feet plus, just built of steel. I mean, the guy is an absolute unit. And he can throw that board around with ease, throws tons of spray. His technique is very precise, and when you have precision and power, you know, that's where you get those big numbers. So Ramzi Boukiem right now hasn't been able to really show us what he's capable of in this heat with a 2 and a 1.40. Rachel, he's got 13 minutes left. He's sitting in second priority. He might have an opportunity right here. These lefts are beckoning, and here we go. Building speed down the line. Kind of has to settle for a transitional snap float turn right there. That wasn't the wave that Ramsey was looking for.
No, it just got stuck around that section a little bit too long and knew that that's not the timing that he wanted, and didn't see that final end section really standing up in front of him to take advantage of. So it's interesting how this heat's playing out. Joan, with a couple of sixes, actually has Andy needs a 9.93, and then the rest of the field would be in combination situation. It's not often that we see surfers of these names in a combination situation for that first position, of course, with just a couple of sixes. So there is a lot to be improved upon, and I think we'll start seeing the surfers really kick their wave count higher, kick their gears into action in order to just delete all those scores that have been in their top two thus far.
Yeah, and I see Alonso Correa's 6.37 just dropped. So great wave for his campaign, puts him in the second place position as we see our current heat leader, Joan Duroux.
Whoa.
Oh.
I was just about to say this has been a real blue-collar style heat. Good meat and potatoes power surfing. No one's going to complain about that, but we hadn't seen anything really flashy yet. But I think Joan sitting on a 6.5 and a 6, you know, gives himself a little bit of freedom, luxury to play around a little bit. We saw that attempt just then. Didn't go his way, but I like it. You know, that's how you differentiate yourself from what's happening in the water. You have a 6.5, you backed it up with a 6, so you're in a really good spot at advancement right now. It's time to show us your dance moves. We've seen your work. Now let's see you play.
Well, in John, I see somebody super solid. Joan is definitely has a very complete game, and drawing him and making him a part of that Olympic conversation for France, you know that man can get barreled, and you know he is a very, very solid competitive surfer, has the whole package, and you know, he's got those pair of sixes, so he's going to feel comfortable. But right in his heels, Alonso Correa with the 6-point ride as well, just kind of getting out of that room, getting out of that low score conversation, and one more score, excellent score, and Alonso Correa could be in his way to that final.
Here's that 6.5. That this is the first wave of the heat, came in about the 45-second mark.
Yeah, and a little bit different to be finding it on a right, but he was happy with that. That's how he wanted to start off his campaign. It's so important, especially in conditions like this, to get a quick start. I think that would have been his strategy out there, is get out there, get 2 strong scores, sit on that, and then look to improve upon that. And we haven't seen him be as busy as previous heats before, because we know he's been able to rest easy with those 2 scores. Now he's going to look to just build that house.
Yeah, one that's been kind of sleepy is Andy Creer. You know, very consistent all competition, love his rail surfing, and really in tune with the lefts here at Arrastreal, just really getting that consistency. Yesterday we saw him go through many recharge heats. I wonder if you know, you're just running out of gas. So much surfing, so much mental stress too, because every single heat is a situation. But at least that Olympic qualification out of his head. Now he just needs to regroup. He only needs a 5.38 to get in the conversation. But you know, all these surfers, Chris, they're going to replace those second low scores, and it's just going to be a harder task for Andy.
Well, Alonso and Joan coming from that main round just earlier, so they've surfed significantly less heats than Ramsey and Andy to get to this point. So I think you're right that fatigue is really playing, and we're in day 9 of competition. That's a lot of heat surfed all throughout this event. And in conditions like this, that means a lot of waves surfed too. It's not like it's clean and you're seeing surfers surf maybe 3 waves in half an hour. It's 10 waves stood up on in 20 minutes. That's busy.
And then they feel the force of Arecibo right there. That wave detonated on every surfer in the lineup. So it looks like we're seeing a pulse happening right now with this incoming swell. 8:40 to go. So there's been a lot of really cool Cinderella stories throughout this week. I'm going to put Andy Creer and Alonso Correa right in that conversation of, you know, names that coming into this event, not necessarily household names on a global scale, definitely in their regions, you know, absolute superstars. But Tim Elter, Andy Creer, and Alonso Correa. 3 names that a lot of surf fans might not have expected to see in the upcoming Olympic Games, but guess what? They earned it and they earned their spot in the sun right now, because these three surfers, you know, coming through, I would say the toughest field we've ever seen in ISA competition to achieve that level of success is a huge story, and I think just the start for those three. I know Alonso Correa, we've seen him in a lot of QS events around the world. I mean, he is, like I said, he's a superstar in his region, but it's just great to see these, you know, these names start to rise to that level of greatness. And here are your surfers that qualified right here in Puerto Rico at the 2024 ISA World Surfing Games. You know, Ramzi Bukiem, obvious international superstar. Same with Rio Waida, and I'd say Joan Duru in that similar field. But for the rest of the guys who qualified down here, they're in for a wild ride.
Wow.
Fame and fortune on the way. But Ramzi Bukiem now, he's trying to get the spotlight back, and he did it. That right there is pure power surfing at its finest. His backhand is deadly lethal. He showed us exactly why on that last wave. And here we go, Andy Crier. He's got a foamy big section. He gets blasted. He goes down, 655. Otto, I think Ramzi might be making a leap from the basement to the penthouse with that last score.
I think he's looking for a ocean view for sure on that one. His backside, as we know, hailing from Morocco, is lethal. And I do have to say, we were talking about floaters. That floater's going to score pretty high. And Ramzi Bukiem, he's going to definitely jump from that third place position into that top position with that last wave. And going back to what you said about Andy and Tim and even Alonso, I do have to give, you know, Tim credit. He was an alternate. Somebody got hurt in last second replacement. And the one thing that I do have to say about Andy and Tim, they both came, as we see the replay. Let's run this through, Chris. How's this floater?
Jeez. Oh, run it back again. That was a two-stager rock and roll floater. Finishes with two sledgehammer backside turns.
And that's what we saw, surfing like that earn him that excellent score this morning against the powerhouse of Yago Dora, who would have been intimidating going into a heat against. And Ramzi stuck to his game of power surfing, of that incredible rail game that he has. And his 8.33 this morning was on his forehand. So, you know, now he's just saying that he can also provide it on his backhand.
Yeah, great surfing there by the Moroccan surfer. As we see the Frenchman, big hit off the top right there. Nice foamy one. Doesn't matter for Jean Duru. Really well executed those maneuvers, and it's kind of an answer back to Ramzi as he completes it. And what does this say? I'm going to stay up top. I'm going to be solid. I'm trying to get rid of that 6.00, but Ramzi coming in with a 9.17. Hey. Yeah. I think Ramzi stole Yago's fire in a good way.
Yeah.
You know, a surgical strike is one thing, but that right there was a sledgehammer strike. I love that the judges gave him full credit for that two-stage floater. We talked about floaters being dangerous and difficult, especially on your backhand. And the way he did it set himself up for greatness. So, of course, speed, power, flow, that's the main equation.
Just thinking that.
Yeah, so this is it, right? Big critical snap, two-stage float, gets that rock and roll section down the line, straight back into it.
And this wave provided him the opportunity to go from bang, bang, bang. He didn't have to kind of wait for that end section and pump and gain speed and navigate a frothy section like we just saw on Joan's last wave. So you see he gets that nice opening section, but a little less flow in here. He kind of has to navigate this frothy section. Not as much flow happening here. Now he does surf these sections well, but there's that combination of surfing the wave but having that excellent wave selection that provides you those opportunities. And Ramzi just doing it the best.
Yeah, and I love that the judges identified there that there was no break in the flow from Ramzi Bukiem. And, you know, again, the subtleties there. To come down from a two-stage floater, airdrop like that into the flats and not break flow is elite. And I love that our judges identified that and threw out the highest single wave score of the day, a 917 for Ramzi Bukiem. You're right, Otto. He's got a beautiful view of the Atlantic right now from the penthouse he's living in.
Yeah, and I do have to say, thanks to our production team, we put those two waves side to side, and it was evident.
Yeah.
It was that flow, that tempo, and it's really hard to come off a floater and just not pump your way into your next maneuver. And like you said, Rachel, every maneuver that he did was just a continuation of that same line that he drew, and that was beautifully surfed. I mean, that last turn was on point. A little bit of a hard section, you know, when you have a foam coming on right there, to put your board vertical and to actually throw the tail. I got to say the judges were on point, 9.17. And Ramsey, you know, we know he's tired. We know he's had a couple of heats, but he's striking for gold. He's got the key to the penthouse now. He wants to put some nice bling bling in it.
Well, this is the final heat for that opportunity for a medal. So 2 surfers that advance out of this, they're guaranteed a medal at this point. So it's just, you know, the surfers that get knocked out of this, they were so close, but couldn't quite put it together on that final day. And so all these surfers are thinking about that medal, that opportunity.
Pretty cool. I mean, just kind of realizing through all this action, we got 4 Olympic qualifiers in one repechage heat. So this right here, again, I won't call it superlative. I mean, this is history. We're watching surf history happening in front of our eyes, and that's going to continue on through the day as we will be crowning an ISA World Champion for men and an ISA World Champion for women, as well as that illustrious ISA Team Champion medal. That's a lot of pride you can bring back to your home nation.
Well, Chris, one thing that we can count in the ISA is that this is an inclusive event. It's everybody in the world. It's the best surfers from the whole world that get a chance to get in here, show their talent, showcase how and why they're here. And that's what I love about that Olympic conversation, but also the ISA for years, for 60 years, has been bringing that. And I love it. It's an influence for countries. Look at what happened with Italy, you know, from one man to a solid team, and more teams like Peru, Puerto Rico, teams that you probably didn't hear of now have powerhouses, you know, in this spectrum, and they're going to the Olympics Paris 2024 at Chopo.
Yeah, it's been a really great global celebration of surfing here in Puerto Rico. And I mean, the performances from day 1 all the way through now, what are we on, day 50? Thousands of waves ridden, thousands of points given out by our judges, or I should say earned by our surfers. With 36 seconds left, for now, it's Ramsey Bukiem and Joan Duru who have battled their way through an insanely tough and stacked repechage round. But watch out, Alonso Correa not done yet. Needs a 6-7-3. One big turn at the end of this wave could do that. Blast the tail out. In control. Wiling out on his backhand. That was a big snap for Alonso Correa. Was it big enough to earn a 6-7-3? That would be an amazing buzzer beater, but it's not obvious, is it?
No, and I do have to say a big thank you to the community here in Arecibo, Puerto Rico. Everybody that's been involved in this, letting us borrow this town for a whole week, 9 days of competition. It's with a lot of respect, a lot of love, and I cherish everybody who's extended their utmost best to make one of these an unforgettable event.
You know, Boricua all day. Been loving it. Gracious hosts in and around the contest area. I mean, the excitement, the energy levels, the love of surfing is really evident here in Puerto Rico. And, you know, with some heroes were definitely made down here. Ramsey Bukiem, I mean, doing Ramsey Bukiem things. His backhand right there, stellar, 917. High mark of the day. You know he's got more to give. There's that Moroccan flag waving high. That surf-rich nation very excited for their hometown hero. Ramsey Bukiem gets the win, surfs his way back onto the main podium, along with French surfer Joan Duru. So keeping that France v Brazil fight alive, Joan Duru is now back in the main round. Well, we're heading to the finals, ladies and gentlemen. One more repechage for the women, and then it's finals time. Do not go anywhere. You're watching elite level competition here at the ISA World Surfing Games, and we'll be right back.
El cariño deja una huella. Vela porque estemos bien. Celebra las nuevas etapas de la vida. El cariño nos mantiene en forma para que no nos perdamos ni un segundo de lo que nos llena de vida. Donde hay cariño, hay salud. Por eso llevamos 40 años cuidando cada etapa de tu vida. MCS, 40 años de salud completa.
In Puerto Rico, we call ourselves Boricua. We are proud, passionate, and full of life. On our island, secrets are more precious when shared. Passion flourishes. We enjoy until our hearts are full. And we know that gifts can come from anywhere. Live Boricua.
Welcome to the 60th anniversary of the International Surfing Association of the World Surfing Games. It's very exciting to see all that has unfolded this week as we're now into day 9 of competition, which is finals day, and these 4 women are 1 heat away from winning a medal. Sally Fitzgibbons, Sol Aguirre, Anat Lelior, and Tatiana Weston-Webb. Australia, Peru, Israel, and Brazil in the water. 2 of these surfers already have tasted that gold medal. Sally 3 times the ISA World Surfing Games. Tatiana Weston-Webb is our reigning gold medalist from last year's World Surfing Games. Both Sol Aguirre and Anat Lelior are looking for their very first medal. They've never finaled at the World Surfing Games and would be hopeful to do so today. As we see Tatiana attack an aggressive section on the start, Shannon Hughes on the call alongside the 88 world champion Barton Lynch. Barton, what an exciting day it has been so far.
Yes, as we see that Brazilian flag fly, it's been flying all week. It's been flying proudly here on finals day. Tatiana Weston-Webb, a goofy footer. So is Anat Lelior. So 2 goofies, 2 naturals, meaning the goofies stand with their right foot forward, the naturals with their left foot forward. And that's really one of the only differentiating things really between, in how you can choose to surf. It's whether you got the right foot forward or the left foot forward.
And that all comes down to when you're learning, whether it's as a little grom or as an adult, kind of figuring out what's the most natural way to get up to your feet.
And they do say that if someone's not looking and you push, give them a little nudge, not a big push, in the back, that whatever foot goes out first naturally and instinctively in that situation is the way you will stand on a surfboard.
Few different ways to determine that in the surfing world, and if you've ever taken some lessons, you've probably been through that situation before. Tatiana Weston-Webb learned at a young age that she would be a goofy foot and loves the feeling of driving off on that forehand on the left.
Yeah, nice one turn. Won't be such a massive score, but it's a good starter. It's a nice turn. It was critical on a big section. Definitely seen that the taller, bigger waves today are the easiest path to the big scores. But we've seen some great rail surfing from the ladies this week, that's for sure.
We certainly have. 21 minutes on the clock, a 5.83 drops through to open up the account for Tatiana.
Well, I mean, when you consider that it's out of 10, that's over half of the potential range of score for one manoeuvre, so a big score there. And again, I just see those big sections being the ones that reward consistently. So I'm sure by now, day 9, all of the coaches, all the surfers understand the recipe.
Paddle now for Sol Aguirre out of Peru. Just earned herself a spot for the Paris 2024 Olympics. Out of competition this week, she hooks it up into a really heavy section on her closeout maneuver, and she'll go down. Already having found herself with the best result to date. And, it's not every year that the World Surfing Games has this much consequence to it. This year happens to be an Olympic cycle, so finding your best results in the Olympic cycle year, what a year to find yourself on a run.
Yeah, that's good rhythm, that is. Sally Fitzgibbons up and riding.
The 3-time ISA gold medalist found herself down into the rapid charge round. After not having the best of heats alongside Sol Aguirre, both surfed well within their main round, but they just couldn't do enough to get themselves the advancing position straight into the final, where we will see Joanne Defay and Nadia Erostarbe for France and for Spain already locked into that final. Top 2 surfers from this heat right now will be joining them and fighting out for that gold medal, as well as for those team ranking slots that are still available on the men's and women's sides. There we can see Ramsey Bokyam just having a little debrief after another great heat.
And it says next heat, but it's the final. It's not just another heat. That's what this is coming up, is what we've been here for all week. And you know what? 4 goofy footers in that men's final.
Oh.
Put a little smile on my face, didn't it, when I realised that?
Takes a goofy foot to notice that straight off the bat.
Yeah, yeah, that was apparent to me straight away.
That's going to be an exciting matchup with Gabriel Medina, Kyle Livas, and Joan Duru. There is still some scenarios unfolding within that for the highest ranking men's team. Gabriel Medina will have to take away a win alongside Ramsey Bokiam in that silver medal position to keep the hopes of Team Brazil alive to secure a 3rd spot. If any other situation unfolds, if the 2 French surfers end up on top, or one of them on top and even one of them at the bottom, then that puts it in their favor. So they've got a great opportunity now to secure a 3rd slot. Sally Fitzgibbons up and riding for Team Australia, fighting her way through this opening wave. A little bit of kind of backwash within that, the wave kind of bouncing around a few different directions. She does well to navigate it, and she'll put together her first completed wave on the board.
Took that wave with the first priority, saw that it had some potential, didn't want her opponent to get it, so used the first priority. It's now with Soligere from Peru, a young lady with a massive future ahead of her. Sally Fitzgibbons, the most experienced person in the water in this event, most probably across the entire field, still alive in this second to last heat. Qualify through this, you're in the grand final.
Talk us through this last wave of Sally Fitzgibbons.
Couple of little top turns there, got really aggressive in the pump and the drive towards that last turn. And for Sal, drives off the bottom, first turn, nice snap, kind of gets caught for a little moment there. Snaps back into the power pocket. You see there was this energy in her body. I've got to generate the energy. I need to build the speed to get that last turn in and maximise the opportunities. Oh, big wave on the outside.
Weston Webb with a very challenging takeoff. Nearly into the barrel if that wave could have held open. Of course, we've got that kind of straight onshore wind that started to develop. I had a quick run down into the athlete zone before coming back up into the booth just to get a sense for the feeling. And I was chatting to Mitch Salazar, who's doing our sideline reporting today, and he said the tension is so strong today down there in comparison to what we kind of have seen in the livelihood, the excitement, the kind of building anticipation of the last few days of competition. He said today he's been noticing athletes not looking each other in the eye that are coming up in the same heat. Where sometimes, the rest of the week we've been kind of catching those little glimmers of a handshake before they paddle out. Right now, everything is on the line for those gold medals. Anat Lelior out of Israel has been one of those in the hunt for her first ISA medal this week. Getting a bit of work done on her second wave, which will be her best scoring.
Yeah, what we saw there was if you go into that last section without a lot of speed and don't clear the whitewater with speed, the convergence of the whitewater from all those directions makes it really difficult to complete the ride. Sally Fitzgibbons on the wave before, we saw her really be conscious of that and build her speed into the last turn to make sure she got the completion. On that occasion for Israel, the completion wasn't done because the speed into the last turn wasn't sufficient enough to enable her to clear that whitewater. It gobbled her up.
Brazil currently holding on to that leading position with the strength of that single huge maneuver for Tatiana. Like you said, kind of breaking down that 5.83 again. It was more than half of the potential score of a 10-point ride available for just a single maneuver. Imagine if she finds 2 of those. As we take a look now at the replay here from Anat.
Second wrap, first turn was nice. You see here, she's just slowly going towards it, and when she did that turn off the top, her nose was pointing back towards the whitewater, and we'll see it from this angle better. Lovely first carve. Gets to the top of the wave, goes into another beautiful wrap there, and you watch here. She pushes, you watch where the nose of the board points to. Back towards that whitewater that's coming at her. It needed to be more horizontal out of the top, clear that whitewater for the completion. The fact that she whipped it out of the top, stuck the nose back towards the oncoming whitewater, gobbled her up, and was an incomplete for a 3.80.
Weston Webb sitting with first priority, Fitzgibbons sitting with second priority. And just the 3.17 requirement on our 4th place surfer in the 2-point range, on our second and third place surfers to make a difference. So with 15 minutes on the clock, we'll see every surfer replace those scores on the board, and we'll likely see that those situations change up just a little bit. Now, it's been very important for the surfers that have been advancing through today to keep themselves moving forward in that team rankings conversation. As we can see, Anat Lelior of Israel with a paddle. She's just going to try and stay busy under priority, unable to get into that one. But back to that team rankings. On the women's side specifically, in the running to take away an extra slot for their nation is France, Brazil, Spain, and Peru. That is because they all have that single surfer still in the draw. Even Sally Fitzgibbons of Australia still has a chance to gain a spot for Team Australia. So 5 nations with the opportunity, as Anat Lelior for Israel goes down in a heavy section. 5 nations on the women's side could secure that extra position for Paris 2024.
And Anat has been one of the stars of the week. Really wearing a heart on her sleeves, a lot of emotion, commitment. We've seen her in heats where there's hardly any time left, and she's been able to find 2 rides in the final 5 minutes and advance through consistently. Keep staying busy out there from the 4th priority. And here is the list of our Olympic qualifiers to date. You see the top 8 there from the World Surf League into the qualifiers for the continental spots from that 23 ISA Games in El Salvador.
We've got the Pan American rankings that came through as well from 2023, and then 8 slots that filled in from this week's competition, the 2024 ISA World Surfing Games. We will then have the top-ranked women's team in the draw, earning themselves an extra slot, filling in that 22nd spot. We've got Team USA that already has that highest ranking spot from the 2022 World Surfing Games. They earn themselves a slot, and then a place for universality. So still 3 names of individual surfers that we're going to see fill those in, but they're going more on national allocation than they are just an individual basis. So that's where we don't have that filled in yet, and 2 of those positions still to be decided.
We just saw a critical exchange of priority there, Shannon. Sally Fitzgibbons paddled for the first wave and then paddled again and lost her priority, went down to 4th priority. She had the 383, still 12 minutes, so lots of time. But priority at this point in time, you know, is so critical because you want to use it. You're unimpeded. You can catch any wave you want out there when you've got first priority, and it is a great advantage. To lose it without even riding a wave is got to be considered a big mistake for Australia.
Especially at this stage of competition.
Yeah, and this stage of a heat where you haven't had a scoring ride of consequence. Here we go. This could have been Sally's, but it's Tachi's.
Finals day here in Arecibo, and Tatiana has been looking great every time she paddles out, finding that more open wrap as the wave softens out on her.
Yes. Well, fortunate for her other competitors. Unfortunate for the Brazilian. Used the priority. Now she's down to the 4th priority. So, it has been difficult all week to use the priority. Sometimes it's obvious and an easy thing to use when the waves are lined up, consistent, and you can tell the good ones from the bad ones. In these conditions, very beach break. We're on a reef break, but it's very much like a beach break style of wave. And knowing what it's going to do on the inside reef when you take off on the outside reef is a guesstimate at best. But the best surfers in the world have been figuring that one out.
It has looked like a complicated wave to figure out, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
And every single day we've shown up, it's looked different. We've seen, a slightly bigger surf, slightly smaller surf. We've seen very windy kind of cross-shore days. We've seen now this clean morning with the biggest conditions here at Rostrial today. But now that onshore wind has already started. It's kind of coming more straight on today than it is from that cross-shore direction. So that changes the way this wave is breaking, the way every wave rolls over the reef.
It's been fantastic for the performance aerials, the wind. It has been one amazing air show. We've seen some of the great massive airs that we've ever seen in competition at ISA here in Puerto Rico, courtesy of that wind. And we imagine as the land heats up, that wind's going to increase during the day, get stronger and stronger, and we'll see people taking to the air.
Tachi now up and riding, digs the rail in on her opening turn. Now she has found herself back in the lead off of a 2.27. Anat's just going to bottom turn right in front of her competitor, hoping to take away the lead. She needs a 4.31 for that single maneuver to put herself up into first.
We have seen a 5.83 for a single maneuver, so we know it's completely possible. I think the finish was a little less graceful than Tachi's, and so I don't know that will go that high, 4.31. It was a nice turn. It looked like the wave had a lot of promise, but it closed out very quickly. We saw her try and dive over the top of the white water to get out the back. Tatiana Weston-Webb having a look at this. Defending gold medalist.
Defending gold medalist. Each one of these women, aside from Sally Fitzgibbons, will be heading to the Paris 2024 Olympics. But that being said, Sally Fitzgibbons was in Tokyo, so we've got a whole slew of Olympians currently in the water. Down to 9 minutes remaining on the clock. And that last score of a knot, a 3.57 as we take a look now at Seoul. So her requirement just under that 5-point range. 2 seamless turns connected together, straight into the pocket. She has been so fluid within her performance. She's been graceful, waiting out that timing so well, and her wave selection has been on point the entire event.
Yeah, great rides. As we see the Peru team there supporting and applauding Tatiana on a beautiful carve.
Great looking carve to set it up. Finds that little lip line to finish on the closeout.
She'll be the first lady to have 2 scores of consequence. That will be another good ride to go with the 5.83, 2 turns completed. Most probably the second best score of the heat so far, I imagine. Up there around the 5 range with that 5.83 and give her 2 scores of consequence. Put pressure on the other 3 ladies. All of them not able to score over a 4 yet.
Up and riding now, Fitzgibbons with a 4.28 requirement at the moment, but knowing she needs to stay busy, increase that score line because we'll have better scores dropping for the rest of the field. She does well with that wave. As she drops down into 4th, this will help her situation. Scores are starting to trickle in across the field. We've got a 5.5 in for Sol Aguirre of Peru. Takes her into the leading position. Now puts a requirement of a 2.84 on the board for Weston-Webb. We know that she'll get that on her last wave.
Yep.
And now Fitzgibbons with a score to drop as well. Currently chasing a 4.85. That won't change by too much should Seoul end up into second, because those heat totals are very close between first and second at the moment. And there it is, a 7-point ride drops in for Tatiana Weston-Webb. It takes her into a convincing lead, Barton.
A knot up and riding.
A knot up and riding now. Setting herself up down the line, hard off the bottom into the lip, tries to just take that board as, dynamic as possible, pierce through that lip line.
And when you're watching surfing and you see the wipeout or the fall, you go, oh, well, that's dramatic and not a good thing. But in that situation, you've got to go for it. It's only one turn. It was not a big set wave, a smaller set wave. So there's only one way to turn it into the sort of score you need to advance through to the final, and that's to go for it. So that's why we see such radical surfing and radical attempts in those situations. Sol Aguirre, on the other hand, as you said, has shown poise and grace the whole time under pressure. And on that wave she had for the 5.5, she's just surfed fluidly and beautifully, and knew that there was a score in the wave, and she didn't need to risk anything. She just needed to maximize the scoring potential that was in the wave on its own. She did that beautifully.
Well, 6 minutes 23 seconds on the clock. Fitzgibbons now up and riding. She's dropped a 3.47 for her last wave, so she still remains in that 4th place position with a requirement on the board to take over second.
She was in 3rd priority, so that's the reason she's having a look at these waves, because, as we said before, you don't know when you take off all the time. When you take off outside, you're not sure what it's going to do on the inside. So in 3rd and 4th priority, it's worth a look. It's worth a try. That's why we see Sally doing what she's doing out there at the moment.
Little set starting to come through right now. Tatiana Weston-Webb sitting with 1st priority. Sol Aguirre with 2nd priority. They'll duck dive this as it just doesn't have the shape, really any shape to that wave. Maybe a little double up on the inside section. We've seen a few of those waves with kind of a trickier outside. Start to hit that inside reef and they'll really light up.
Yeah, they clean up when it gets to the shallower water and it starts to draw that wave face. It cleans it up like a grooming machine on a mountain. Here we go, getting ready. The man of the moment, Gabriel Medina, a lot on the line. I think we'd all, feel like the Olympics would be complete if he was there.
It certainly would feel complete. Well, he's done everything he possibly could until this stage to try to earn a position. Coming into this men's final, Gabriel Medina has taken out a win in every single heat he has surfed so far.
And he has done the sort of surfing that makes it look like it's fun. He hasn't felt like he's under pressure yet. His ability to handle the pressure and be joyful in the moment of that pressure is incredible. Here we go, priority being used.
Sol now up and riding, chasing a 7.33 to take away that leading position. Just that single maneuver, looking to improve on a 3.17 to make the job even harder. Now, taking a look, Barton, correct me if I'm wrong, but the requirements on 3rd and 4th right now, those look actually like requirements to take away a leading position.
Yes.
Not to take away that 2nd place position.
Yeah.
So they're actually just going to be looking for scores to take away 2nd, as this is the Repicharge final. It's not the main final yet. Sally Fitzgibbons up and riding. That was nice fluid surfing. Was hopeful for her that wave would have stood up even more.
Yeah, it was. It was a beautiful turn. Nice, clean arc. Swooped through the turn. Unfortunately, the wave offered nothing else. 3 minutes. It's at the point now with just under 4 minutes that she has to start settling that wave selection back a bit and just being certain that the wave is the score she needs.
So those requirements, the 9 and the 9.03 on 3rd and 4th, are just to take them into the lead, not actually the advancing positions that they need, as we see Tatiana on this one.
That was the 7-point ride, 2 turns, so been scored really well today. The 5.83 for 1 and the 7 on this one. Beautiful wrap into the closeout section. Little sort of lower speed line, clears the whitewater beautifully and has been very dominant. Her wave selection has been on point. She's done everything right. Really, from the start of this heat, she's been in the lead the whole way.
She's also been one of those surfers that's been highly consistent, I would say, for Team Brazil, Tatiana, and for Gabriel Medina, having those real winning streaks throughout the entire event, looking steady every time she's paddled out. Finds herself in the Repicharge round now, though, needing to battle back. So hasn't quite had that perfect record, but her surfing has been right there in every single heat.
Yeah, that was an interesting choice of wave. It was a closeout, essentially. She's gone left on all her other rides, so I imagine she was like, I'm going to show the judges something else and see if a 1 turn can get better than the 5.83. I don't know that it does. It's a beautiful backhand re-entry. Just one. Disappeared in the whitewater, cleared it. Be interesting to see how the judges feel about that one.
And Nat with the paddle struggles to get into it. Drives off the bottom and maybe wasn't going to be able to make the most of that wave just from the way the takeoff unfolded for her. Sol now looking to improve on a 3.17 will put more pressure on the back half of the field. One nice looking snap. Done with style, with speed, power, and flow as well as she tags the end section.
It's a long ride and it's a long paddle. The support crew loved it. I'm not sure that it improves on the 3.17. The 1 turn on the backhand before got the 2.83. Perhaps it improves a little, but it was a shouldery wave. The layback snap. This is dangerous here.
Up and riding, Sally chasing a score now to get herself into the advancing position. 2-turn combo. And that's what she needs to start putting herself back into this, Barton. She only needs to get to that heat total of an 8.60. She's got a 3.83 on the board, so she's probably looking for something in that 5-point range to get her into 2nd place position.
And that was a wave that 1st and 2nd priority, Sol and Tatiana, would have loved to have caught. They used their priority on waves that really weren't of consequence, and they didn't really affect the situation. It was a 5.03 for Tachi, so it didn't change anything, and a 3.07 for Sol. They gave the priority to Sally. She got that one. That's going to set her up with 1 minute to go with a chance of qualification.
Could the 3-time ISA gold medalist dig herself out of the hole now? She's got 1 score to drop that will help her situation. Will that be enough to take her into 2nd? And with 45 seconds on the clock, will she have one last opportunity?
And the sooner she gets the score, the better.
The sooner the better. And Nat now up and riding into that 1st turn. She's going to have to really attack this end section, and she does it easily. Now waiting for a score for a Nat. Sally Fitzgibbons has scored a 6.10. That's jumped her up into 2nd. Now, Anat Leilior is going to have a score for her 2-turn combination. She's going to need something in that 6-point range to take away Sally Fitzgibbons with that 9.93 heat total. Remember, those requirements of the 9 and the 7 are actually to take away the lead, not to go into that 2nd place position.
Under 10 seconds, she was gifted that wave by Tatiana, and Solagere is the one who pays the most for her wave selection, down into 3rd place. That's the heat. The siren's gone. Sally Fitzgibbons pulled it out.
But
what? Oh, hold on. A score to come?
We do have a score to come. Now, we've just seen the adjustment of the requirements. So Anat Leilior needs a 6.13 on her wave to take herself into the advancing position. Sol was unable to get a final opportunity, so she'll be sitting in that 3rd place position. And Tatiana has not increased on her lead. Sally as well.
Sorry, the easy thing for the judges is the previous was a 6.10 of Sally Fitzgibbons, so there can be direct comparison and go, is this 0.03 better? Does it give her advancement? I feel like Sally's was a bigger wave, perhaps had more face, and perhaps it's under Sally's, would be my guesstimate here. Judges will tell us, though, waiting on that score.
What an exciting heat to see unfold. Unreal that both surfers on the end were able to find themselves with an opportunity for Sally Fitzgibbons and for Anat Leilior. Sally found that 6.10 and was able to take herself into that advancing position. Top 2 will be heading into the final, and it looks official. Anat Leilior falling shy of the requirement. She'll fall out in that 4th place position alongside Solagere of Peru, Tatiana Weston-Webb of Brazil, Sally Fitzgibbons of Australia, both of them advancing to the final, as well as keeping the hopes alive for each of their nations to earn the highest ranking women's spot. It's all going to come down to the finals. This is very exciting. Also, coming up next, our men's final, Gabriel Medina, Kaoli Vast, Ramsey Bokiam, and Joan Duru hitting the lineup.
Here in Arecibo with athletes from around the world to restore the mangrove forest behind me. Protecting our coastline is critically important for the health of our waves, so we're honored to be a part of the ISA and these World Surfing Games. Today we're restoring a mangrove forest. These mangroves are what are called blue carbon ecosystems. They capture and store more atmospheric carbon than any habitat on the planet.
Puerto Rico, we call ourselves Boricua, a unique name honoring our island heritage and the vibrant spirit of our people. When you bask in the warmth of our beaches, when you taste the love in our food, when you embrace the call of our adventures, you'll find that spirit in yourself. Dare to live every moment. Live Boricua.
Crank your amps up to 11. It's time to rock and roll. This is the finals at the ISA World Surfing Games. We are so excited to present to you our 4 finalists. One of these 4 surfers will be a gold medalist and a world champion. Will it be Gabriel Medina, Kaoli Vast, Ramsey Bokiam, or Joan Duru? A lot at stake for all 4 of these surfers in the water. Here in the booth, I'm Chris Cote, joined by Barton Lynch and Otto Flores. Excitement levels at an all-time high. This is going to be radical. Here we go. We're going to start off with Ramsey Bokiam. His power surfing has been his key to success throughout this entire event. And Ramsey dropped a 917 to make his way into the finals.
What?
Well, if anyone's going to find a tube, it's this surfer representing France by way of Tahiti. Kaoli Vast, one of the best tube riders on the planet, finds the only cave on the coastline that we've seen in the last week.
Hey, I do have to say that one of the things that Rastrial has is that little shelfy, punchy barrel. And I'm not going to say that was the cleanest barrel, but I'm really happy to see that somebody just went through that curtain. And I think France, their corner was all fire ahead. We need to win this thing. We need to leave no chance, because this guy in red has a mission to accomplish.
Yeah, we're gonna field our final Olympic slot for the men after this final. Medina has been on a tear throughout this contest, and he continues his roll. Brilliant surfing for Gabriel Medina, our Superman, doing it again. That's how you start a final, Barton.
What a great exchange to start this final. Ramsey just got a 2, wasn't what he was looking for. That left, Cowley out there, and Gabriel. Cowley, I can't wait to see that tube ride on the replay, because we have not seen one since the first opening weekend. So there's got to be some novelty value in that for France. And I noticed in that earlier heat, Otto, Gabriel did some great airs, but they were coming in at 6s and 7s. And in my mind, I was thinking, well, the judges have seen a lot of great airs. They need to see something different, or asking for it. Perhaps the tube ride was it. But when you combo it up with 3 turns, a little short on the top one there.
Well, I have to say, Barton, that Colivast opened up incredibly, but Gabriel wanted to leave no space. No doubts, and nothing to be said. Full rotation right there, lands it, and it's not over yet,
Not
gentlemen.
over. I know.
He is just hyper-focused on this next section. Nice little snap right here, and just finishes with a bang, throws the tail, and I'm not a judge, but this is excellent to me.
I mean, that's the if we're watching a UFC fight, that would be a leg kick to the head, a punch to the gut, and an uppercut at the end to finish.
Well, the air on its own was of value.
Massive.
Just on its own. You add the first and the last turns in, bookend that air with something. Here's the tube. Pulls in from behind. Look at that wild section in front of him. Amazing tube ride. First we've seen for a long time. We're expecting some great novelty value in the score from the judges for that. It's come in as a 5.33, Chris.
Yeah, I think that's a...
Look at this.
That's a totally appropriate number, because while that was an extremely difficult tube to ride in and out of, you know, in the grand scheme of the heat, I feel like that was the exact number that he earned right there. Great call by the judges. You know, only a surfer knows the feeling, right? When you see a tube, you got to take that chance, regardless of what you're surfing for or what heat it is. Here we go. Calivas, he can do it in the barrel, and he can do it in the air. Telegraphing down the line. Gets a sketchy ramp, lands in the flats. He goes down. 26-28 to go in this final.
So a big observation here. Gabriel Medina sitting wide, noticing that low road is where the hollowness of the wave is, where the most maneuver possibility is, and just really, really hyper focusing on this. I know the judges have their work cut out for him. That little red ball is just spinning its head off right in our screen. But Ramsey Bouquin on this right, surfing it.
Sometimes the ocean overpowers even the most powerful surfers. That was the case for Ramsey Bouquin right there. So as it stands for now, Calivas is in the lead with a 5.33, but we're still waiting for what we think is going to be a solid chunk of points for Gabriel Medina. And Otto, tell us about where Medina is sitting in the lineup. He's pretty far away from the rest of the field. What is he seeing that the other surfers are not?
I've been talking about this all week. That low road, so you get a chip in from the top and you might be able to connect. He's not leaving that doubt to himself. He knows that the better wave is that wide one, the one that stretches out, that gives you multiple opportunities, and he's going to leave no room for error. He's going to try all his tries down there. And Barton, one thing that you picked out is that priority has kind of disappeared from the equation. It's more about rhythm, consistency about getting waves, and yeah, these two guys are definitely going to duke it out.
Yeah, Cowley using his priority there over Gabriel, comes unstuck.
Yeah, sometimes when you try to force it, it doesn't work out. Gabriel Medina, he is heavily rewarded for incredible surfing, a 9-point ride. Gabriel Medina has not lost a heat this entire contest. Every heat he surfed, he has won in a convincing way, and we saw that literally from his first heat of this event, his first post-heat interview. You could tell something was different about Gabriel Medina than we saw in the opening events on the championship tour. He came down here to Puerto Rico with vicious intent, but he's been doing it with joy. He's been doing it with this just incredible energy. I think this is the turning point for 2024 for Gabriel Medina.
Well, one thing I do have to say, as we see the replay of Colivas, probably the most informed surfer after Gabriel Medina. Really intelligent surfing, but I do have to say, Gabriel Medina has put it to one more wave for him in this contest, and he's got 20 minutes to pick that wave out of the lineup. He's already put an excellent score. Look at the replay. Nice little foam climb right there. Eyeing the section, difficult degree, executes it, and finishes with a bang. We knew it was going to go excellent, Barton. Speed, power, flow, bam.
Great wave selection, great style. Here's Jean Duroux.
You know, I was thinking earlier on that Joan Dua and Ramsey Bukiam were going to kind of stick to their strengths, being their powerful backhand surfing. You saw them kind of well over to where the right has been, to where they've got their biggest scores of the day so far. But you see Joan Dua there cutting left. Wave didn't necessarily go his way. He's going to have to sit with a couple twos, maybe a three for that last wave. We'll see what the judges give him. 23 minutes to go. Gabriel Medina back into that priority spot, and Ramsey Bukiam back on his backside, hunting these right-handers to give him that punch where he can hit back. We saw him get a 917 on a wave in this area. Bigger than that, better than that, more sections than that, but you know his comfort level, and you know the strength he's relying on right now is that backhand turn.
I got a good question for you guys. Does the judging influence change when you see surfing like that? Obviously, we know that 9.17 from Ramsey was amazing, but it's almost like the scale has been reset in this with that 9.0. Ramsey obviously looking for that right, looking for that opportunity. I think his surfing and his rail surfing is the reason why he's there. But is there a degree of difficulty? Is there a different curb with Gabriel opening up like that?
Yeah, I think even before Gabriel opened up like that, you knew he was going to do it. Here he goes again.
The Medina show has just begun with 21 minutes left. Nice slicing carve there for Medina. Second turn, a lot like the first. So he's going to want to mix things up here, blast the tail out. So he's trying it better at 3.5. I think he's done it. Those two opening carves with the little added flair of the tail slide there. Calivas now attacking, gets hit back. He goes down.
We could tell that everybody is just going for it. You know you're in the final. There is no second place. Silver medal, yep, bronze medal. And copper for fourth, so all these guys getting a medal.
Well, I think, Chris, you hit it right on the target. These guys are raising the volume. It's like the rock and roll, but they want to come out loud. This is a positioning thing right now. There's something on the line for Gabriel Medina, but there's something on the line for everybody here. Everybody's achieved their Olympic gold. Now they want to go for the top.
Yeah, so with 21 minutes left, if Gabriel Medina can stay where he is right now, Team Brazil will have a solid chance of his overall men's team rankings win. But we got a lot of surfing before that happens, and Ramsey Bukiam going from power to finesse, all in the one turn.
Yeah, back to the question from Otto about Medina, and you know Medina is going to try. He's going to try those airs. He's going to the airs. And for Ramsey, the backhand is his strength. So we saw him at the start of it go to the backhand to try and match, fire with his own type of fire. It wasn't working. He switched it up to the left, found an absolute smoker, and those two big turns they're going to rival and go up into the near excellent. I feel like it's an excellent ride, and it's going to put him in a strong position as well.
20 minutes left. Jeremy Flores, one of the coaches for Team France. He is a fiery competitor in and out of the water. His steely gaze scanning the horizon for trouble. And he's found it right now with Gabriel Medina with that 9-point ride. I mean, that is a steep, tall mountain to climb for the rest of the surfers in this final. But if anyone's going to do it, it's Calivas, Ramsey Bukiam, and Joan Duru. They proved that they are potent competitors. They've all had scores in the excellent range. But now it's time to dig deep.
Talk about dig deep, Barton, to your point. Ramsey went to fundamental rail surfing and what he's really good at. He goes, I got to put my best foot forward. Nice turn off the top. Really difficult maneuver. And you know what? The only thing that could stand next to progressive surfing is fundamental carve surfing and using your rail the way the Moroccan just used it. So we're going to see that score. They're going to take their time, but I love the answer back from Ramsey. That's what I'm talking about.
And there are many ways to get big scores these days, but you need to have the power and the class of Ramsey Bukhayam to be able to do that on the wave face, don't you? That first turn was so tight and so vertical and so beautiful, and the whip out of the top. And the second one was unbelievable. Look at this wave.
Kali Vast finds a gem down the line, way away from his competitors. Completes the frontside air 3, but nothing else for him on that wave. A little bit off time, a little bit messy, of course. A radical maneuver, super progressive. But here in the finals, I mean, everything's got to be perfect.
You know, look at that score dropping for Ramsey, an 8.17. But look at the lineup. Gabriel doesn't care about priority. And one thing that Colivas did, he got the wave from the peak. But Gabriel knows that those don't open up. And he did that great maneuver off the top. But that little white water just doesn't extend itself to the reef. It doesn't give you the playground. And Gabriel is just hyper-focused on finding one of those waves and doing it. Great performance here by the Frenchman. Goes above the air. But unfortunately, this wave just closes out on him.
And on second look, I mean, it was a little bit loftier than it appeared from the opening angle. But here's that wave of Bukhayam. Barton, you said it, that first turn, tighten in the pocket. Then he frees the fins right there, just adding a little extra, what do you call it, saison? Saison to that turn. Losing the fins, kicking him out, in control. And so I like the mix of power and progression that we saw from Ramsey Bukhayam. At 8.17, the only score right now that is standing tall next to Gabriel Medina's 9-point ride. Medina did back up his big 9 with a 4.77. That's just a placeholder. Forget about that number. That's going to be eviscerated very soon. You can tell Medina right now playing the waiting game, hunting a ramp. But Ramsey Bukhayam back to work. Slicing carve to start, setting things up, building speed to this inside section. It's kind of crumbly, but he's going to continue on down the line. So far, nothing real great there on that wave, but he keeps the ball rolling. Trying to get rid of in 3.33. Here we go. Medina uses his priority. He was looking for an error in that opening section, but he finds it there.
Wow.
One of the first falls of the entire event for Gabriel Medina. Now we see Kali Vast. Quick little tail whip. Frees the fins. Gets a third. Still blasting his way down the line. Forcing the issue.
What does Kalivas do? He goes down the line. He looks for that wide one and starts getting into that conversation. I want to break down what sazon means. Sazon is what you put in those rice and beans to make them taste incredible. Sazon is how you season that piece of steak that you eat here in Puerto Rico. And sazon is what you put on a wave to get an excellent score.
More sazon from Gabriel Medina. Look at his eye line. Staring right at the lip. Waiting for an opportunity. Little off-timed, off-tempo there from Medina. But he's pushing, right?
Yeah, he's just doing his thing, isn't he? He's really not paying attention to the other people. He is one of the greatest, maybe the best competitor in the world as far as competing goes. He's ruthless. He will do whatever it takes. But in more recent times, he has mellowed, and success has mellowed him and has made him more likable to the public, it would be fair to say. Ooh. But the power of this guy, it could be a problem longer term if he doesn't get a good second score.
I think we're seeing that Medina come back, that competitor. You know, he feels comfortable around the crowd. He feels comfortable around his space. But we're seeing the return of that kind of funky Co-Medina. It was unbeatable. It was those excellent scores. It was multiple excellent scores. And you see the fire. You see the lion. I like his goatee. It looks like a pirate, and he's out to look for treasure here, man.
Well, here's some straight up power surfing on a nice little wedge.
Beautiful.
Fully maximize the power pocket of that wave. And even that final section, not a lot of surfers in the world could make a turn look that good in a really tough, critical part of the wave to hit.
Faded it back, got really deep on that little chip, and it was positioning on the reef that found him that, and he faded it in, came around the corner beautifully. Jean Deroux, live action. The Frenchman needs something right now to keep himself in this. That's not the one.
Yeah, slow start for Jean Deroux. But he's probably had the most buzzer-beating finishes of anyone in this contest. Never count out French surfer Joan Duru. Now we go back to Medina. Quick stall on the takeoff. Scans that wave for opportunities. Doesn't like it. He's out. 13:50 to go.
Not often in a four-man final you would see 4 goofy footers.
Love it.
And then have 3 goofy footers commentating them.
It's a goofy day.
fest today right now, peoples.
Let's go, goofy
Put your right
footers.
foot forward.
It's the day of the goofies.
Look at this thing.
There's gonna be a goofy-footed champion from here in Puerto Rico at the ISA World Surfing Games for the men.
Well, there used to be a contest, goofy versus regular. Evidently, we goofies have prevailed today. Barton, a very interesting conversation here. Gabriel goes to second. Obviously, Ramsey Bouquin coming into that first place position with that beautiful pick. It wasn't the best or biggest wave as we see him. He's in rhythm with the ocean. Chris, what is he going to do on this one?
Well, he's just going to get out of there and get back to the takeoff zone where Medina is sitting right now by himself in second priority. Joan Duru in that top priority spot. But again, priority really hasn't come into play yet. But you can bet in the final 5 or 4 minutes, that's going to be a huge part of who gets the win here.
Yeah, still 12, so it feels like there's less, doesn't it? It feels like we're getting down to that time, but there's still a lot of time because there's been so much action first. But Ramsey Bouquin, he's going to feel really confident. He has done 2 turns for an 817, 2 turns for a 717. Hasn't gone to the air, hasn't left the wave face, but has been super progressive and powerful and aggressive in those manoeuvres that he's done. Gabriel's going back to what he wants to do, concentrating on himself, moving over to where the other guys were. Didn't work for him, but he needs to improve on that 477 as quick as he possibly can to reapply the pressure.
Well, the conversation that's eluding us, the elephant in the room, the 2 Frenchmen are 3rd and 4th. Gabriel gets a first. The probabilities start going his way. If there's any chance, he needs to separate the Frenchman away from him. And evidently what we're seeing on screen, he's separating himself. He's giving himself the chance. If he gets an excellent score in the 7 range, it's going to be dangerous.
This is that 9-point ride right here that really just electrified the audience on the beach, the judges. Everybody got fired up after that wave. Since then, the highest single wave score is right here, this 817.
So tight. This is a tweaked out maneuver at the end, but that's traditional base surfing done as good as it can possibly be. And this one, see, fades it back behind, so he's really tight, flares the tail again, comes around for the second last turn. Nice big flying lofty floater as the closeout section broke. So 4 turns for a really high score and proving to Medina, putting pressure on Medina. We've seen him catch a lot of waves that haven't been good enough, and we've seen him fall on a few. So is this the time that we start to see the pressure finally take its toll on Gabriel Medina? If anyone can handle it, it's him. But I really just want to see him get one of them nice ones and go to the air again.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gabriel only needs 1 score, and we've seen champions go down with a 10 in their scoreboard. So anything can happen right here. Brazil try to will a wave towards the multiple world champion Gabriel Medina, and getting set for the stage Tati Weston-Webb defending her title. So Brazil's still in the conversation in both women's and men's, but all eyes, all 10 minutes and 13 seconds on this man right there. He needs 1 excellent wave, and we all know he's super capable.
He's paddling right back to his comfort zone. This is where he's been getting those big numbers.
And how is the performance from the French this week? Absolutely.
Their best, I would say their best ever team.
Yeah.
I know I'm dipping way back. I'm dipping way deep into the superlative realm, but this is the deepest field that we've ever seen in ISA competition in terms of talent. That's top to bottom. That's the rising surf nations who have really started to make a big push.
Agree.
Put Team China on that list of just vastly improved in the last 3 years.
Germany.
They have become a superpower. Germany as well. I mean, Costa Rica always fields a big team, but these are some of the names right now that are climbing from, the 20s, the 30s, all the way up into that top 10 picture. So by the end of the day today, we'll have our full list of individual medalists, team champions. Teams will start their breakdown of what happened this week, I'm sure immediately, because unlike the Olympics, ISA competition happens every single year. We crown a world champion every year at the ISA World Surfing Games. Will it be Sally Fitzgibbons? I mean, she's already got 3 gold medals. 4th would be nice and tidy for Sally Fitz, who's done it all in ISA competition.
And in that women's final, France, Spain and Brazil, the 3 standout nations in this event. Those 3 nations have been just amazing across the board.
Yeah, I think in both fields, both men's and women's, the French team has been really solid, as we see Ramsey Boucain here just unfortunately coming unstuck. But going back to that, the French team, they have just been executing perfectly.
Yeah.
They came in through that main round. They had a mission. They've done statistically excellent execution, but also the level of surfing. I do have to say, Kali Voss and Jean Duroux, quiet but silent killers,
Bravo.
Every heat.
Yep, bravo. Incredible performances from them. And Marco
Mignon.
Yeah, he did amazing too. So the coaching staff, they can take a bow regardless of the results, but here's a good wave.
Kali Voss needs a 9.77. Streaking down the line.
Is there only one way to that score, Chris?
Yeah, it's by way of the sky. All right, so first part of the wave, not too wild. Second part of the wave went nuts. Kali Voss takes to the air. Definitely going to delete that 5.57, I'm sure.
And Medina has taken a long time to replace that 4.77, and the longer it goes, the more the pressure mounts. I mean, we know he can handle. He's emotionally unflappable, but he's just doing his thing. And at some point, I feel like competing is important too, and putting pressure on your opponents. While you sit wide and let them do their thing, they're just all getting waves and building momentum. And although they haven't quite caught him yet, as we see the replay of the moment on that wave of importance.
This kid's got pop and power. He is the complete package. I think this young surfer from France is not only on that list of favorites when you're looking at Paris 2024, but he's got a bright future. Here we go. Medina ramps out right away. Could have another section here on the inside. Placeholder turn, building up speed. Hammers the inside section for Gabriel Medina.
There it is, my friends. Patience holds precision. And I have to say, I can't understand how he holds it so well. Like, his nerves, he knew exactly how to play that one. That last turn was very smart, precise, but super powerful. And you know what he's doing? He's matching Ramsey's surfing. He's already gone up to the air. He's already gone excellent. Now he's going to go powerhouse. And now it's time for him to play.
7. And you got the feeling that he did at least that. But the composure that he's got to sit there, like you said, Barton, he probably watched 8 waves ridden just to the left of where he was at. And this kid back on the escalator. Here we go.
I think Chris, it was almost going through that threshold of knowing that he could do it, and I think now he's just freed himself up.
Yes.
He's going to wait for that score, and this is what's going to free him up. As we see the Frenchman, super solid, goes up in the air again.
Okay.
Wow.
That's going to make it a heat. Kali Voss now. We're still waiting for his previous wave, which is kind of similar to that one. But now the judges have their work cut out for them. The big scores being calculated in their minds right now.
Yeah, 5 minutes on the clock. We're down to the business end. Everyone's going to have scores. We're waiting on Gabriel's and Kali Voss. When we get those scores, we'll know where things are at into the final 4:45, 7.20.
The judges are really good at not getting caught up in the emotion of the heat at hand. They score the waves for what they are. You see Kali Voss here. That was brilliant surfing.
7.20.
That was,
really brilliant at hand, as we see Gabriel going up in the air, going through the section. Nice little turn right here.
What's he seeing right here? There's nothing in there.
The low road.
Somehow he finds this section.
I like how he finished this thing. And you know, why are the judges taking their time? They're doing the comparison. That little red ball is definitely there. What I liked about this air is that he actually made the section with it. It was a progressive maneuver, but also technical in its way. And I love how he finished this one. So we'll have to see what the judges give him, but now we got a fight in our hands.
It's a 6.6.
And that will put him back into the lead. Ramzi Bukiem drops to second. Still waiting for scores for Kali Vast.
Kali improved, got his best wave to 7.20. Medina again.
Here we go again. The monster, Gabriel Medina, finds a couple impactful sections. Somehow, miraculously keeps his feet stuck to his board.
Beautiful surfing.
I mean, come on.
Barton, I have to say, he's looking at those growers, and he just did something right there that, I mean, look at Kali Vast. He was looking at him. That degree of difficulty, we didn't think he was going to make the maneuver. He came out of it and still surfed the wave. So, Gabriel Medina, I don't know. That 6.6 might be leaving the zone right there and just reassuring that first place position.
You know who Gabriel Medina is surfing like right now? Gabriel Medina.
Like no one else, eh?
Yeah. I mean, he is one kind.
John
He's obviously rattled the rest of the field. I mean, they're pushing, but Medina is just fending them off with every wave he surfs. So he just dropped to 6.6, and we're going to wait for what could potentially be another potent number in Gabriel Medina's scoreline. If he wins here, his Olympic dream is alive and well. Of course, a lot of numbers, a lot to unpack after this heat, so we'll see what happens. But Gabriel Medina, he's got the doors slightly open for him right now in terms of Olympic qualification.
Well, I was telling Chris and Barton, like, he needed to get that wave, that 6, to just free himself again, and that just kind of opened the door. It took the pressure off. You could see he was kind of, you know, pacing the lineup and wanting to switch his strategy. As soon as he caught that 6, it just opened him up, and the backup was just reflex, I think, and his surfing is superb. And now we see some strategy there by the Frenchman, but Gabriel, that little red ball is going to come up with a surprise for sure.
Well, Gabriel knows that he needs to work with Ramzi Bukiem right now. He needs to keep Kali Vast and Johan Duru in 3rd and 4th place if he wants to get the ultimate number of points and keep the French surfers in check.
This is a big score for France.
Wow, 7.20 and a 7.13 for Kali Vast. There it is, dropped in, but it's just under. Still in 3rd place.
Wow.
So this is the exact scenario that Gabriel Medina wants to see as Ramzi Bukiem.
How was the power to tweak that board up in there? Judges still considering his last ride. Still in the 1st place. France in 3rd and 4th. We'll find out what that does for the overall men's position and see who gets that 3rd spot at the Olympics. 1 minute to go.
The fangs, the claws, the knives, everything is out right now. Gabriel Medina leans into his tactical prowess, trying to fend off Kali Vast in the blue right there. Medina has top priority. We could be witnessing surf history right now.
It's almost like that score doesn't matter, but it really does matter. 30 seconds remaining. Gabriel definitely, you know, strategizing against Kali Vast, has it, and
look at him blocking.
Wow, that was, again, calculated. He knew that wave was a dud.
I'm speechless right now.
Great use of the priority, still waiting on the score. There it is, a 7.4, consolidates his 1st place. 10 seconds to go.
Last looks for Kali Vast, but give it up to Team France.
Oh yeah, great event. John Duru, good on you, mate. Great event.
And Team Brazil starts the celebration. Surfing's Superman, Gabriel Medina, ISA gold medalist, world champion.
Wow. You know what? We talked about it at the start, and he did not let us down in one heat. He won every single heat, the whole competition. And Arecibo and Gabriel Medina, best friends.
The monster has awoken. Gabriel Medina.
We've known him as one of the greatest and fiercest competitors of all time. We've known him, there he is, celebrating on the way in, the Brazilian team, touching the heart. He is a superhero of our sport. And what a great victory for Brazil, keeping their hopes alive, or his hopes alive, of an Olympic spot.
And he's going to remember this one. He tried this one as hard as any title or any contest. And if anybody deserves to be in Tahiti, it's Gabriel Medina.
What about Carly Vast? You did mention the Frenchman, Jean Giroux, but Carly Vast, what an event for him.
This guy is going to be a threat. He's going to be a problem for the rest of the competitive surfing world for a long time to come.
Yes.
And, still, even with the third place finish here at the ISA World Surfing Games, he is definitely your top name when you think of potential Olympic gold medalist in his backyard in Tahiti, Paris 2024. This show is just starting, right? I mean, now we really get to dive in. Does Gabriel Medina potentially get a slot in the Olympics to compete at a wave that he is fearless and ferocious at?
Hey, if anybody could give himself a chance, Gabriel did it in flying colors, and I think he's going to remember this victory as one of the ages. It's really awesome to see how he did it, where he did it, and also he did it for his country.
Yeah.
This is just a moment of pure elation.
Teco Padarat's flexing there, pointing he's taken over the Brazilian surfing role here, the Federation, and they're going from strength to strength.
Just when you thought the Brazilian storm was slightly slowing, think again. Medina is back on top.
Yes, what a performance. They'd love to get a goofy foot there to the Olympic venue.
And arguably one of the best goofy footers in the world in that wave. So I think history said it. The most difficult contest in Chopo we've ever seen, Gabriel Medina won it. So, and also, we got to give accolades.
He literally left it all out there.
He left it all out there.
Full credit to Ramsey Bukiem.
Even the board.
I mean, all class, pure power. I mean, Ramsey is such a great ambassador for surfing. Not just from Team Morocco, where he is a hero, but for the entirety of the surfing world. Ramsey does it the right way.
Yeah, Morocco's pride and joy we saw in the piece on him. He's painted up on the side of a building as an Olympian for his country, and what a week he had. Incredible surfing from him.
This guy's earned a few naps.
Yeah, good day for the Goofs.
That was, I think, a physical test, a mental test, and they all showed a lot of fortitude in so many ways. That's an inspiration right there for all competitive surfers trying to climb up the ranks. Take notes, kids. This is how you do it.
You'd imagine that in the back rooms here, they would be calculating, crunching the numbers to see
every number.
who the winning team is on the male side and whether that man right there gets an Olympic spot.
Wow. Well, the stories are going to keep coming through here. As we reset things, we're going to take a very quick break, but don't go anywhere. The women's final is coming up next. So much on the line. We're going to bring Rachel, Shannon, and world champion Sofia Milanovic into the booth to call this final. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.